Okay. Anytime.
Sorry, Bryan. I thought you were gonna. Sorry, I thought you were gonna ask me the question there. So just to confirm then, so kind of name an intro.
Yep.
So just to confirm, what specifically on my experience working with you? I got the coaching piece. I have some pieces to say there, but will I say just the impact that you've had as well? Or?
Anything you want to say? Yeah, exactly. Just roll with natural. What would you say if someone's like, "Hey, you worked with Bryan. What's that like?" What's up?
Okay, and then is this the full? Will I go for the full testimonial on this one, or are you gonna?
No.
In one go.
Yep, and then I will follow up with asking you questions if I want to embellish anything.
Okay, got it. That's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. I could go for a while, so I won't go too long, and then I'll let you ask follow-up kind of prodding questions.
Don't worry about going too long. Just whatever feels real to you. Okay. And thank you, by the way, for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Oh, my absolute pleasure. Beyond I'm constantly giving you testimonials all over the place. So this is easy. All righty. Do you want to re-record, or is it okay?
I'm just recording. Yeah, no, it's all good. We're going.
Okay, perfect.
Actually, I do want you to, if you can, lower yourself in the frame. I want headroom so that we're seeing
that better.
I would go even further. There we go. That's now looking great.
All righty, perfect. Hey folks, my name is Rian Doris. I am the co-founder and CEO at the Flow Research Collective. We're a neuroscience-based research and training institute. We've trained executive teams from companies like Facebook, Deloitte, Accenture, Audi in the neuroscience of peak performance and flow state. I founded the company along with New York Times bestselling author Stephen Kotler, who you may have seen on the Joe Rogan Experience. You may have read one of his books. And I started working with Bryan about 8 months ago now, after spending about a year looking for a really powerful, transformational coach that could bridge and really interact with me about the distinct but critical areas that I needed work on. And they were specifically leadership, psychology, mindset, and business. And Bryan has this incredibly unique ability to go deep across those distinct dimensions. I had this persistent frustration where I was finding and interacting with and meeting coaches who sort of knew a lot about leadership and were useful there, but they didn't understand business, or at least not my business. Or maybe they understood the mechanics of business, but they had no understanding of my own internal psychology and how to communicate with employees or get past limiting beliefs. And Bryan's experience and ability to play in those domains is a 10 out of 10 in each one, which creates this incredible sort of synergy where they're all interlocking and you're leveling up in leadership because of something specific that you're diving into with respect to the business piece. And it has been absolutely transformational for me to be able to work with Bryan. I probably hired 5 to 10 coaches and burned each one out after about 3 months with incredible dismay. And then I finally found Bryan, hunted him down after hearing all sorts of incredible things from friends of mine who were coaches of Bryan. And the experience has just been absolutely second to none, by far the best coaching experience I've ever had. And I can tell and feel that I will work with Bryan for as long as he will have me as a client. And that's likely going to be many, many years. So I could not possibly recommend Bryan more. I'm constantly singing his praises to all my friends and referring them to him and wishing that he was able to clone himself so that everyone I know who runs an 8 or 9-figure business could work with him. And what's been interesting as well is learning specifically about coaching from being coached by an amazing coach. In the past, when I was working with coaches, I have now come to understand that I wasn't really being coached. They were kind of talking at me about things or telling me different things about their domain of expertise. But being coached by Bryan and working with Bryan has actually taught me what coaching feels like and looks like at the absolute elite apex level. the way in which Bryan's able to ask the questions that just stop me in my tracks, cause me to go silent sometimes for, over 5 minutes before I have a paradigm shifting insight that results in the next 3 months of my focus shifting or something like that, through to Bryan's understanding of change and how to elicit change in a very deep way and pinpoint the small hinges that swing big doors for me specifically and work on those. And then the third piece that's been very profound for me in learning about how to coach, from being coached by Bryan, is the intentionality. He will, pause me, have me reflect on something, and go into this very, very effective sort of meta communication within a coaching session where we'll identify something, pull back, work on it, and then drop back down into the specific challenge that we're focusing on and continue forward. So all around, I could not possibly recommend Bryan more strongly. I don't think I've ever worked with anyone who I have recommended more strongly to others. So if you are considering working with Bryan in any capacity, you got to do it.
Well, thank you very much, Rian. If you had to list one or two of like the biggest takeaways so far of our work together, what has been most impactful for you?
Oh, it's a extremely difficult question. Honestly, I come off every call with 5+ paradigm shifting, permanently impactful takeaways. So if I had to boil it down to one or two takeaways, the first one is that, if you find the right coach, you're going to come away with far more than one or two big takeaways. It's difficult to even pin them down. I'm not going to give one or two top ones, but I'll just list some that come to mind. But there are literally dozens and dozens of these. One is how to communicate with team members as a leader or as an executive. It had been driving me nuts for years, just banging into walls with my communication and not understanding kind of basic communication patterns. And Bryan just simplified it down so incredibly and actually drilled how to communicate as a leader with me. Since I've been doing it, it feels like having this superpower where I can actually just speak to people in a way that makes them feel great and produce incredible results, rather than getting stuck in my head and just kind of, feeling like a bull in a china shop when interacting with my team. That's been a huge one. Just to give another really, quick one off the top of my mind, the concept of good revenue and bad revenue is something that I've shared with my whole team. They all talk in those terms, and it's fundamentally shifted the way in which we think about almost every single decision we make. Almost every significant decision we make now comes through the filter of, will this add more good revenue? Because ultimately good revenue is the only scalable form of revenue over the long term. So that's just been incredibly profound. Hiring, my understanding of recruitment and hiring leaders specifically has been completely changed. Bryan boiled down the entire assessment process for leaders to one question that has made me clear on why hires I thought were going to work out incredibly in the past have not, and has allowed me to hire new people who I would not have previously decided to hire, with immense results. And it's actually given me a clear understanding of what defines a leader within a team. So that's been incredibly powerful, and I could keep going for hours, literally, especially if I pull up my notes. So I'll stop there.
That's wonderful. And then we probably have everything, but just in case, what do you think about the idea of Bryan teaching other coaches some of what he does? Do you think that's like possible to do?
If I was a coach and I was wanting to succeed as a coach, I think the thing that I would do, which sounds obvious, but most coaches don't do it, is become the most transformational coach I could possibly be through producing, incredible results for clients. And as a result of that, never losing a client, or at least being able to work with a client continually for 3 to 5 years, growing organically through referrals and not even having to worry about marketing or, you know, even having a website. I actually found Bryan through some back channel because he didn't even have a website, but it didn't matter because the recommendations were so strong that I hunted him down through a back channel, and also so that I could keep clients forever, get clients through referrals, and also so that I could, you know, command extremely significant coaching fees because of the value I was delivering. So if I was a coach, I would just try and master my craft so that those three things would emerge. And I think the fastest, most pleasant and effective possible path I could imagine to doing that is working directly with Bryan, because Bryan has done that at a level that I've never observed before. And I'm in the coaching world and ecosystem. And, you know, with respect to those three things, which are really the dreams of coaches, keeping clients forever, growing organically through referrals, and, you know, commanding extremely strong fees. Bryan's done that at a level I've never seen before, and I would want to learn from the person who's done that at a level that, you know, is the highest, if that was my goal. So I would absolutely jump on the opportunity to work with Bryan to elevate my own coaching if I had the chance.
And it's that's amazing. That's embarrassingly good, as you predicted it would be.
Well, I if you want, I can give you like the pithy, more marketing style, 8 to 10, you know, 8 figures to 9 figure ROI kind of one.
Why don't you go ahead? I'm sure Joe will find a place to use it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because normally that's the sort of style I do. So I'll do kind of like a discrete snippet. Okay. I'll actually just start from the beginning and try and do like one kind of quick one as well. So, hey, I'm Rian Doris. I'm the co-founder and CEO of the Flow Research Collective. We're a neuroscience-based research and training organization. We've worked with some of the biggest companies on the planet, from Google to Facebook to Accenture to Audi. I co-founded the company with New York Times bestselling author Stephen Kotler, and we scaled to 8 figures over the last 24 months. Working with Bryan Franklin has been an absolutely critical driver in getting us to get to 8 figures. And I can already see that it is going to be arguably the single most important thing, at least with respect to my own development and support, in getting us to 9 figures and even beyond. Bryan is unquestionably my secret weapon. People often ask what the secret has been to our rapid growth, fully bootstrapped without any outside capital. And it has been having someone who is as gifted and experienced and skillful at the art of coaching and the art of detailed business mentorship and guidance as Bryan. There's no way I would have been able to do it without him, and I would not even think about getting to the next level without the support of Bryan the whole way. So if you're thinking about working with Bryan, I could not possibly recommend doing so more strongly. It'll be the best investment you've ever made. And I know that sounds hyperbolic, but I stand by it.
Shaka. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Super touched.
You know what's funny? I think I actually sell you even stronger when I'm just talking to people. So I'll try and record that at some point.
It makes sense why Dan's like, "Hi, I don't know you, but here's my money."
Yeah, exactly.
He's real sweet, though. By the way, we've been really enjoying getting started, and I think we're clearing
really sweet.
Some big cobwebs for him. And looks like we're starting with Max too. I talked with the team, and
that's epic.
Bringing fun out too. So I really couldn't appreciate you more, and I love our work together. I love Flow Research. So I'm psyched about the futures. I'm so eager for you to nail B2B. I can't wait for you to have that.
I just had my first sales call today. I've got 6 more booked throughout the rest of the week.
Awesome.
All the product development notes being taken and getting after it 100%. And yeah, I can feel that it's just going to be the absolute
I think
level.
your experience of the growth you'll get on B2B is like, it's so easy. Like every dollar,
Yeah.
it's like getting $100 B2B is the effort of getting $1 B2C, you know?
Right.
Yeah. So
it's pretty crazy actually how it feels like. Just I can tell, like, and I was taking notes and it was interesting. I was already starting to get, you know, people were like future proof our culture. There's starting to be real signal coming through exactly already, and I can see how we'll start to have the angles come clear pretty quickly, and it'll just like that. So very exciting.
Awesome. Excellent.
All righty.
Webinars also are a really good B2B tool.
Really?
Yeah, exactly. So if you get people into a webinar where you're teaching them how to future-proof their culture, and then the end of the webinar is, by the way, if you want to sign up for a consultation or do a program or whatever, well, here's a gift certificate for 20% off. You know what I mean? Like you do a.
Oh, interesting. For B2B specifically, B2B engagements.
Yeah. Where you're speaking to the people in the organization who are responsible for those outcomes.
The HR manager or whatever it is.
Exactly. Or you probably do one for the HR manager. You probably do one for the business leader. Who's like, all right, you're managing a team. You want to have the best results possible. This is what you do.
That's cool.
Just help them out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're a little more sensitive. Like it can't be quite so salesy as a B2C one. You can't do some of the
yes. Hard. Yeah, exactly.
The price and all that. Like allergic to some of those maneuvers, but it's a really good evergreen tool.
That's great. Yeah, no, we'll get that.
But you have to know the answers that, you know, you have to have done what you're doing now to get to know what to say.
Yeah, you gotta, exactly. Gotta be able to hit the trigger points. Yes, I think that'll land soon. So
thank you again, and thanks for spending this time. I really appreciate
my pleasure. And if there's any other kind of testimonial or anything like that, or anything written that you want to use, I can sync with Joe and send a voice note or whatever would be helpful at all. So
we'll let you know. Thank you so much.
All righty. Super. Thanks, Bryan. Good to see you. Bye-bye.